The city that never sleeps is also the city that's always watching you. In 2014, New York City decided not to renew their contract for payphones. We'd no longer have payphones on our streets, and said we'd have something new, a new way to communicate and a new way to advertise, LinkNYC. Of course, LinkNYC ended up coming with a lot of questions because I think a lot of people didn't realize that it was also a surveillance system. The old payphones didn't used to watch you, but every LinkNYC terminal has 3 cameras. Of course, cameras that watch us wherever we are aren't anything new. The question is, what happens to the data that's collected by these cameras? There's a tremendous amount of data collection. If you log onto their Wi-Fi network, they have the MAC address of your computer. And if that same computer, cell phone or iPad, logs onto another kiosk, they can realize that the same user is moving from one location to another. The initial idea behind LinkNYC sounded like a great deal for New York. We'd get high-speed Wi-Fi on every corner, and it would be financed by the video ads on the LinkNYC kiosks.
The kiosks would also charge USB devices and provide emergency calls. The advertising is expected to make between $500 million and $1 billion over the next 12 years. But advertising isn't the only way that LinkNYC can generate revenue. The surveillance data from cameras and from the browsing habits of anyone using the public Wi-Fi may be worth much more than the advertising. But it isn't just advertisers that want that kind of information.
Questions about how LinkNYC may cooperate with the police and other forms of state surveillance haven't been adequately answered. I mean, if something happens and a LinkNYC terminal captures it, who decides if you'll be able to get that footage? I think the only solution might be to make the data collected by these cameras available to the general public. I think it's obvious that the NYPD should need a warrant to request any footage from a LinkNYC terminal. And if footage is handed over, that should be a matter of public record. It shouldn't be the case that the price of having free Wi-Fi is having our movements tracked by an organization with no oversight. The cameras can feel like a particularly troubling part of LinkNYC. Because even if you don't log into the Wi-Fi network, your image is still on those cameras. And in theory, you could be tracked from terminal to terminal using facial recognition or just by connecting your image with the MAC address of your device. Well, so while I wait for the rain to stop, I'll take a moment to explain a little bit more. I think that LinkNYC started out as something good, but we really need to reappraise the situation. Are they really solving the city's communication problems as well as the payphones did? Are we okay with this level of surveillance? Shouldn't there be some kind of oversight?
And perhaps now's a good time to mention that LinkNYC is under the umbrella of a holding company called Alphabet, which is also a holding company for Google. There have been some perfunctory promises about Google's databases staying separate from LinkNYC's databases, but ultimately it's just a part of the same trend of concentration, and again with no oversight.
It feels good to be inside.
The city that never sleeps is now the city that never blinks. But it doesn't have to be this way. We need a new operating system for LinkNYC, one that centers public input. And let's forget about monetizing all of that data about New Yorkers. The advertisements are more than enough to pay for the Wi-Fi. 3 words: oversight, surveillance, transparency. That's the direction we go.